Hello, my name is Stacy and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be doing a Python data analysis project for beginners. So it's specifically a sales analytics project. And let's get to it. But before we get into it, yes, my name is Stacy. I'm a data analyst and I enjoy sharing the skills and knowledge I've acquired so far, hence the existence of this channel/community. But anyways, guys, let's get into today's videos. Yeah. So the first thing I'm going to do is to just talk about the data set. Yeah. So we're doing the data set is linked here. Yeah. I'm going to link this collab down below and you can get everything you need from the code to the data set. Yeah. So it's a customer shopping trends data set. So it's just looking at like a company's sales, a customer's shopping trends. Yeah. And you get the link to the data set there. I'm going to link this Google Colab down below. And the first thing we're going to do is to just load our data set. So any of the icons are, but ideally just click here so you're there directly. So once you click on this icon, you'll get a dialog box. That's the data set you're working with. So give it a few minutes to load. So as it loads, I'm just going to take you through the structure of this project. Yeah. So the first thing we're going to start by doing is just loading and previewing our data. Yeah. Once we load and preview our data, the next thing is going to be cleaning our data. Yes, as I was saying, the next thing is going to be cleaning our data. Sorry, there was some noise and I just had to move a bit. Yeah. So cleaning our data. So when it comes to cleaning our data, even before you get into cleaning the data, number one, you have to understand your data set. Hence why we're going to be loading it and previewing it. Yeah. And after that, now you need to do some checks. Yeah. So that's there's a word for it. So there's a word for it. Yeah, and it's actually a very simple word that I'm forgetting, but it's just basically assessing your data. Yeah, so when you assess your data, you know the state of your data when it comes to cleanliness/tidiness, and you know what actions to take. Yeah, so we're going to be using both visual and programmatic ways of assessing the quality of our data. So once we know the quality and state of our data, the next step would ideally to take some data cleaning steps if there's need. Once that is done, we can get into our data exploration and visualization. Yeah. So as you can see, our data set shopping trends updated is done. So we can come here and start. Yeah. So the first thing is loading relevant libraries and the data. So we are going to use 4 major libraries. Yes, that's NumPy and Pandas, which are good Python libraries for just doing your manipulation, putting your data into data frames, and pulling some inbuilt functions, etc. Yeah. So we have Seaborn and Matplotlib. So these two are used for data visualization. Yeah. And let's get into the analysis and see are we actually going to use Seaborn? Are we going to use Matplotlib? Or are we going to use both? Yeah. So the first thing we're going to be doing is loading our data. Okay, so let's just create another one here, and we're going to call our data set sales. Yeah. So we're going to use our pandas function here. So pd alias of pandas. So pd.read. So this thing is taking a while because I want you to see what happens. So if I do pd.read, there you go. So there are a number of data formats that you can read from. So it could be CSV, Excel, HTML, JSON, a pickle file, etc. Yeah. So in our case, it's read CSV. Yeah. So we have to put the name of the CSV. Yeah. So we can come here. I like to copy paste because sometimes you could get an error. Yeah. And especially as a newbie, your debugging skills are still developing. So CSV, yeah, you could get such a small error. Let's say, for example, you say trend instead of trends, yeah, and that can give you a massive headache, yeah. But to be on the safe side and to avoid such small things, I recommend copy pasting, yeah. So, so our data set is called sales.head. So that's also another function will allow us to preview the top of our data set, yeah. So as you can see, our data set comes with a number of columns. It includes customer ID, age, gender, item purchase category, purchase amount, location, size, color, etc., payment method, frequency of purchases. And yeah, from the look of things, at the top of our data, it looks pretty clean. Let's just quickly preview the bottom of our data set and see what it has to offer. Okay, we'll talk about my limited belief after. So our data set is called sales.tail, yeah. Okay, so my limiting belief is most of the data sets that I've encountered that tend to be very dirty and untidy. The bottom of the data set usually has a lot of lines and usually looks so messy. Yeah, but from what I'm seeing here, I feel like we're not going to get a lot of data quality issues as we continue with this analysis. I'm really curious about this, like generate code with sales, view recommended plots, but that's not the purpose of this tutorial, this portfolio project. So let's continue. Maybe we'll do a dedicated video on this, yeah? So we also just want to get a picture of what does our data set look like, yeah? So data set dot show. Yeah, so this is telling us that our data set has 3,900 rows and 18 columns. So it's always good to do this and just have it somewhere, because in case you'll do some data cleaning efforts, let's say you have some missing values and you're going to reduce them. So after you get rid of them, yeah, it's good to rerun shape. So ideally, like the number of rows you have should reduce. And if one of your data cleaning efforts includes dropping a whole column, yes, like of course now if you drop a column or two, it will reduce from 18. So if you rerun this after some efforts you've made and nothing changes, then you know like your efforts were in vain, yeah. But anyway, let's go to the data cleaning side, yeah. So there are a number of things you could do during data cleaning, yeah. The first thing is to check your data types. If they're not in the appropriate column, make sure data type, make sure you change them to the appropriate data type. You could check for missing values, you could check for duplicates, yeah. So this is just a very high level generic steps that I take during data cleaning, but data cleaning is more than this, yeah. And data cleaning is usually dependent on the objective of the analysis that you're doing, yeah? Because you might have project A and project B. Both projects are using the same data set, but each project has a different objective. So what you might call dirty data when it comes to project A might be left, like it's needed, it's necessary, so it's considered okay to leave it in your data set. And vice versa too. What might be considered dirty data in project B might be relevant for project A and might make your data set like not work out, and you might need to filter them out, delete them, etc. Yeah, so always keep that in mind. Like this is a very high level generic steps that you take during data cleaning, but in the real world, it's so different. Yeah, I just thought I should mention that because that's something that really disturbed me. It was like a small fear I had because there's so much ambiguity with what to do with. Okay, I thought there was so much ambiguity when it comes to what to do with like missing values. Okay, duplicates is very obvious, but mostly missing values. But yeah, when you start working, you'll honestly figure it out. You just follow the objective of the project, yeah? So the first thing that we want to do here is check our data types, yeah? And again, our data is called cells. So we're going to use a function known as info, yeah? So let's run that, yeah? So as you can see, it's giving us a list of all our 18 columns, so 0 to 17, so our 18 columns, and we can quickly scan through. So customer ideas and integer makes sense, age, integer, gender, object, okay. Color size is on object. Yeah, so from what I'm seeing, so I already ran through this side note, like my laptop decided to do a whole thing. So in the middle of recording this project, poop, I lost everything. So I'm reshooting this, but anyway, practice, more practice for me. So I already ran through this, but yeah, and everything was okay. So I'll just pause here for a while and just explain to you guys why this is an important step, yeah? So let's say you wanted to do some manipulation of the age, yeah? So you want to exaggerate people's age by 2, or you want to find out the mean age, median age, etc. If this column was an object, so an object is what a character, yeah? you would not be able to do any calculation on it because you cannot do calculations on objects. Yeah, or rather they are limited and very specific. I don't know if I should call them calculations, that you can do with categorical columns. So it is very important to make sure that all columns are in the appropriate data type. That way you can be able to do whatever manipulations that you want to do further down in the project. And yeah, a good example is like we had a date function, date column, yeah, and you want to visualize, I don't know, let's say review ratings by month, by year. If that date column is not in the data type date time, then it would not work. Yeah, so I hope you get the importance. And yeah, just a side note, I have a beginner level, like introduction, a beginner tutorial, so introduction to Python for beginners. So you can check out my playlist, and I have a whole video dedicated to just teach you guys about Python data types, what they are, how to work with them, how to change from one data type to another. Because for this particular project, as you see, pretty clean, we're not going to do much. So the next thing that we want to do here is to check for missing values. Yeah. So again, our data set sales dot is now. So we're going to use a function called is now. Yeah. So let's run that and see. So as you can see, false, false, false. And if there's a place where there is a missing value, it will say true. Yeah. Then we do dot sum. So ideally, the whole idea behind this is anywhere where it's true, it will count. False, it doesn't count. So as you can see, it hasn't counted anything, meaning we don't have missing values in this data set, meaning our data set is pretty clean. Yeah. So the next thing we're going to look for is duplicates. So it kind of works the same. So sales dot duplicated. Yeah, so let's just run that to get an understanding. Again, false, false, false. Yeah, and this one is checking the whole row. So like, are there two whole rows that are duplicated or not? So same thing, dot sum. As you can see, we don't have duplicates. So why is it important for you to check your duplicates? Yeah, so let's say you have a visual somewhere, or you've done some analysis and you're telling, oh, sales manager, your team brought in this number of clients, the revenue from them is like $10,000, yeah, or 1 million Kenya shillings, yeah. But there's some duplicates. So let's say 10% of that 1 million Kenya shillings is duplicated values. So meaning your revenue is actually less than 10%. You see how that can be very misleading, yeah? So you have to make sure you check for duplicates and drop the duplicates. So when it comes to missing values, there are a number of things you could do. You could drop them, or you could impute them with either the mean, mode, and median, yeah? So if it's like, let's say, let's say like age, yeah? There's some missing values in the column for age. You could decide, oh, let me replace them with the mean or the median. So that won't skew your data so much. Or if you have some historical knowledge, or rather you just have more context on that data set, you would know what exact number to just replace those missing values with. So that's what I mean by impute, yeah. And there are like more advanced methods you could use. So like k-means, clustering. So it just looks at so if you have two people, one has a data point, all of them no missing values, another one doesn't. And so we have three people, yeah? Two of them have all their data points, one is missing. So if me, I'm the missing data point, I'm missing maybe age, it will look at all my other characteristics, yeah? So maybe my height, skin tone, etc, etc, how often I shop, blah, 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 and be like, between person A and person B, who do my characteristics closely resemble, and then it will replace the missing value with that age, yeah? So there are a number of other advanced concepts that you could use. If that's something that you're interested to see me cover in this channel, let me know down in the comments below. Otherwise, oh yeah, and then the other option is you can always drop them. Especially if your sample size is big enough, just drop them, yeah? If your sample size is not big, think of other methods to just impute that missing value, yeah? So now we're going to get into data exploration and visualization, yeah. But before we start, I just want us to use a function called describe, yeah, and that just gives us a summary of our data. So sales.describe. Have I spelled it well? Ooh, so what's this telling us? We have a total of 9,900 clients slash rows in this data set, which we already know. The mean age is 44, so most of the people who shop from this particular store are about 44 years old, and the average spend is about 59 USD, and on average people tend to rate that store 3.7. And yeah, so the 75%, so that is the 75th percentile. So that's just telling us when it comes to the review rating, 75% of the people who came to the store rated the store 4.4%. So yeah, it's always good to just have a picture of like what's going on with your data set. So if you have a bunch of hypotheses or you don't, just looking at the data set and just understanding what's going on here can really advise on your next step. So yeah, as a data analyst, you sometimes have very direct requests like, I want this, pull it out for me. But there are times where you'll be given very ambiguous requests like, why are sales falling? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? So now it's you to explore, find the problem and recommend solutions. Or sometimes you've just been stuck at the same level and you and your team want to optimize something. So how can we optimize this? You go into the data, do exploration, and yeah, come up with recommendations on how you can optimize whatever you want to optimize. So such ambiguous requests, I usually like doing some summary statistics and just getting a picture of where we are at and where are we going. Yeah, so now that you have a picture of our summary statistics, let's get into the questions. So we have 5 questions, but yeah, we have 5 questions. Let's start with the first one. So the first question, what we want to do here is to print out, then visualize the most popular payment method. Yeah. So like out of all the people who come to this store, yeah, what is the payment method that they like each person likes using a lot? Yeah, that is the question we want to answer here. So we could use group by, we could use value counts. Let's use group by first. Yeah. So what's our data set? Sales, yeah, and we want to use the group by function, yeah. So what are we grouping by? Yeah, payment method, because that's what we're interested in. Yeah, so we want to count all the times these people have paid, and after we count all the times these people have paid, we want to find every time they pay, where does the payment fall? So it's like you go to the shop 10 times, today you use M-Pesa, tomorrow you pay with cash, the next day you pay with, I don't know what other payment methods are out there. So we want to see which one is most frequently used. So we'd ideally count all of them, then put it in the right segment. So how many times did you pay with M-Pesa? How many times did you pay with cash? How many times did you pay with your card, etc, etc, yeah? So because we are doing a count and we already know our data set is not duplicated, like each row is unique, we could just count the payment method column, yeah? So dot count, yeah? So if you run that, what happens? There you go. So we have bank transfer, cash, credit card, debit card, PayPal, and Venmo. Yeah, but this is not in any particular order. So what we'd want to do is to order this, and we would use something called sort values, ascending. I'm waiting for the auto. Ascending equals false because I want it in descending. Yeah. So let's run that. Why is my false refusing? It needs to be caps lock, uppercase, I mean. There you go. So as you can see, it's ordered. So the most popular payment method is PayPal, followed by credit card. So if we want to just stick to the most popular, we do dot head, yeah? Remember we used it at the start and we just want 1. So the default for head is 5. So now we specify, so there we go. The most popular payment method is PayPal, and for this particular, the time period covered in this data set, it was used 677 times, yeah? So we want to visualize the various payment methods and just get a visual picture of how popular they are. So for us to just see the benefit of this visualization, I'm going to put this back to list all of them. And yeah, at this point, we are going to use Seaborn. So something I like to do is just specify, I like using blue. So I just want to select the base color that we want here. So Seaborn, remember Seaborn, color. So we're going to play around with this color palette and you will get what is going on. Yeah. So when I finish this, we're going to, like, once we have our visual, I'm going to play around with this a bit here. So we want method. Okay, let's just call it method. I don't want a long name. Yeah, so let's call it method, yeah. So method is equals to fields, and we are picking out our payment method. Yay, I still have it saved. And we're doing value counts. Yeah, so remember earlier I said we can use group by or we can use value counts. Value. Yeah. I have to call method there. So same thing, yeah. So group by value counts, you evaluate what exactly you're doing and if both can work or one or the other, yeah. So what do we want to do next? We are going to call Seaborn, the Seaborn count plot, yeah. Count plot, yeah. Ooh, it's loading for long there, but you see, ideally it's telling us what we need to put in. So number 1, our data. So the data is sales, yeah. And then what's our Y value? So that's payment method, yeah. And we can specify the color we want. So that's the base color we created. And then order, we want to order it by method. So we're going to get an error, yeah. And it's okay, not an error, it's going to be blank here. So when you're doing the visual, you need to include index here. So when you run that, there you go. So you see how this is much easier to consume, because here you'd be like, okay, so 677 minus 671, that's a 6 different, very small difference of 1. Very small. You see, it's very, like, it's heavy. Yeah, during a presentation, you usually don't want people to be fixated on trying to understand what's going on with your numbers. They should be able to quickly see, oh, PayPal is the highest, followed by credit card and cash, and the difference is very minimal. And we have debit card, Venmo, and lastly, bank transfer. See the benefits of visualization? But yeah, guys, so that's it for question 1. So question 2 is very similar to question 1. And my challenge to you guys is to do question 2 on your own. So print out, then visualize the most popular items purchased. So yeah, do it. If you feel like you want me to review, feel free to, let me, like, give me a link to your collab in the comments down below. Find me on LinkedIn. Let's have a chat. But yeah, my challenge to you is to practice what you've just done above with question 2. So let's go to question 3. Then we have 2 more questions and we call it a project. Not so short anymore, but I believe it's still very sweet. Yeah. So we want to print out the most popular item purchased by females. Yeah. So we have the column gender, yeah, but we don't really know the content of the column gender, yeah. So we can do sales dot gender, and then we can use the function dot unique, yeah, because we don't know if in gender it's written FM, male, female, and it's male, female, and some data sets will just do M and F. So now that you know how exactly it's spelled, let's get to answering our questions. So, but it makes sense to, okay, it's kind of hanging there, but let's just do Q3, yeah, and then we can get rid of V. Okay, so we're going to use group by again for this question, yeah, but we're going to do some filtering before we get to the group by, yeah. So the first thing is calling our data set. So it's the sales data set, yeah. And we need to specify that in this sales data set, yeah, we only want to build, so we want to call the whole data set, but only filter for where gender is female. So can someone tell me why I'm using double equals instead of single? Yeah. So then again, if you're new to Python, feel free to go and check out my Python series for beginners, because there's small rules here that I'm not really covering, because this is like, that's not the point of this. It's just a project to apply like some of the things we've already learned on, most of the things we already learned on my Python tutorial beginner series. And yeah, we'll also learn a bunch of new things here. So like double is to, so when you do a single equals once, you're assigning. But when you're double, you're looking for something that's like that. So like equals female, you're looking for female, equals 10 equals 10, you're looking for 10. So that's double equals 10, double equals female. You're looking for 10, you're looking for female. But if you just say equals female, it's like you're assigning so that whatever is on the left now is the container rather than the variable carrying equals female. So what equals? So if X is equals to female, then when you print X, it will give you female. But if you do X double equals female, you're looking like, is the content of X the same as female? I really hope that makes sense. But yeah, there's a tutorial there explaining it better. But yeah, it's just filtering, yeah? So let's run this fast and just see what happens. So as you can see, this is our data set. And just visually scanning through it, it's female, female, female. You should not see male because you've filtered out all the male. We've remained with female only. Yeah. So at this point is where we introduce group by. Okay. So we are grouping by item purchased because we want to know the most popular item that is purchased by females. So control, copy, and then we come in here, we're grouping by females, yeah? So because again, it's a count, you can still use item purchased. So count all the rows in the column, item purchased. So dot count is not new to you people anymore. And then we are going to do our dot sort values, also not new to you people. And we want to sort it in ascending. So ascending equals false, meaning we want it in descending from the highest to the lowest. So let's run that fast. And as you can see, the most popular items are blouses, followed by a shirt. So we are interested in the most popular items. So dot head. So think of, if you're familiar with SQL, think of head as limit. So limit 1. So our most popular item are blouses, and 66 of them were purchased during that time period. So what's our next question? Visualize the locations that drive majority of our sales. So me teaching you people bad manners. But when you're doing question 2, please don't copy paste. Please type it one by one. Oh, we were supposed to play around with this. I forgot. So I don't know what palette 8 is, but let's run and see. So the palettes represent different colors, so you could just Google. So if you have a preference, you can stick to your preference. So clearly that doesn't exist. Let's see one. One is orange, but yeah, I want to keep it blue. So we go back. So that's just what that palette is. It specifies the color that you're interested in, yeah. So here I want to, we don't need this anymore. So we don't need the base palette because we already specified it up there. So when you call base color, sorry, it will still appear, yeah. So now we did location. So we come here and we get location and we replace, I should have probably like used matplotlib. But yeah, if that's something you're interested in, I am for sure going to do another project, yeah, for Python. Actually, I'll talk about that in the end, but yeah, just stay tuned if you want to see other Python projects, be it Python, SQL, Power BI, name it, I will do them for you people. So stay tuned. So like in this particular project, we've mainly used Seaborn, but in other projects, we'll also use matplotlib. Okay, so this definitely needs us to, so let's do dot head. We can do the first 10 because this is very messy. There, so top 10 locations: Montana, California, Idaho, I don't know how to pronounce that to you before. Illinois, let me stop it. Let me not butcher and make my tongue suffer, but yeah. So there are too many very messy you could minimize because most of the time you either care about the bottom 10 or top 10. Yeah, because bottom 10, you want to probably optimize and get them up. Top 10, you want to make sure they're having a good experience and maintaining them. Yeah, but yeah, we already done with visualizing locations that drive majority of the sales, and you can see. So you could visualize, you could use group by or value counts and just list them. Yeah. So the last question that we're doing is how much on average how much do customers spend? Yeah. So we're going to use median and we're going to use median and mean. Yeah. So when should you use median and when should you use mean? Anyway, let's do the calculation here and just see. So the first thing we need to do is just call the what is it called? The column that we're interested in. So for us, it's purchase amount. Let's come here and copy paste it, purchase amount USD. You know, during your data cleaning process, it would have also been nice to like rename those columns. So those columns with spaces, you put like an underscore. Then you don't have to call it like this. You'd have just done sales or purchase amount, but because there are spaces, you have to put it in quotes. Yeah. So let's see what happens. Even me, I've forgotten what's going to happen. So that is the purchase amount column. Yeah. But we want to get the mean. So the mean is 5.9. Yeah. Let me delete this. And we want to clean this up so we can do round to 2 decimal places. I hope my head is still, yeah. So what do we call this? Mean purchases, yeah. So we could copy this and come and paste here, and then you can write median, then you just change this to median. So when you run this, what Python will do, it's going to run the last one. Oh, actually I need to call both of them. So min, because I had allocated them variables. If I had not allocated them variables, then Python would calculate this, calculate the second one, and it would output the last thing it calculated. But since I've given them variables, it's okay, it will run both of them. Oh, actually, no. So what do? We need to print each of them, yeah? So we can say min. And then we have to concat. So you concat with a plus, and you have to change it into a string, yeah? Because you can't concat two, what is it called? Two variables that are not of the same data type, yeah? So let me just, okay, let me also do this one, and then I won't concat and you'll see what happens. Where are my brackets? So median, concat, yeah. So let me first comment that out, then we run this. So you see min is equals to 59.74, yeah. So if you try and run this, you're going to get an error because you can't concat two things. So concat is bringing together. So you can't concat, you can't bring two things that are of different data types. So you have to change it to one data type. So it makes sense to change median purchases from an integer to a string, because median is string, and voila, there you have it. So the mean is 59, the median is 960, sorry, and this tells me that this data set doesn't have many outliers. So if your data set has a lot of outliers, median is a better representative of mean. But yeah, we also have other measures of central tendencies. So like, as we saw in our summary statistics, you could use 25th, 50th, which is the same as median, and 75th percentile, yeah? So it's just up to you to really sit down, think through what problem are you trying to solve, what is the objective of this problem that you're trying to solve, and what is best for me. So lucky for us in this particular case, no, like the outliers are not many. So whether you use mean or median, it's okay. It does not really make a difference. I really hope you guys can hear that though. But the good thing is we are done, guys. Like, I really want you guys to do question 2. And yeah, let me know, how was it for you? Like, were you able to quickly do it? Any questions or difficulties you face, let me know down in the comment below. Otherwise, guys, that's it for this video. If you liked it, please feel free to like and let me know down in the comments below. If you also want to be part of this community and let's keep learning together. Yeah, you can join the community by subscribing. If there's someone out there who you think would benefit from this this particular project, this particular piece of content, and just generally the type of content that I create, feel free to share this project with them. And yeah, feel free to just go and check out my channel. I don't just do Python tutorial projects. Sorry, if this is the first time you're hearing this voice also does. I'm referring to myself as this voice. This voice also does SQL tutorials and projects, Power BI projects. Soon, actually, I've started like the Power BI tutorial, but I don't want to talk about it because I've only so far done one Power BI tutorial, so just showing you guys how to create a very beginner-friendly Power BI report / dashboard. But I've done a bunch of SQL and Power BI, what is called SQL and Power BI projects. So we do the creating our data set, data cleaning, manipulation, feature engineering on SQL. or SQL, and then you jump onto Power BI or Tableau or sometimes Excel and do our visualization there. I've done a bunch of tutorials on SQL. It's almost done. Like I just have a very few. The only topic that I've not touched yet is what are they called, subqueries, but that's coming soon. Maybe not so soon, but it's going to come because I still have a bunch of projects that I want to release. I need to finish the window function series, and I also need to finish the joins series. Then we can get into subqueries. But otherwise, guys, that's it from me. Again, feel free to subscribe. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think, what you want to see more of. And yeah, bye, people.